Hey, let's go ahead and get started with our messages from our spirit guides, angels, and ancestors. If you guys have not had a chance to check out your sun, your moon, rising, Mars, Venus, and Jupiter signs, I have been posting weeklies, so please feel free to go back. Those readings actually are timeless, but I am doing sun sign videos. So Spirit, please show me what messages from our spirit guides, angels, and ancestors. What is the most important messages right now? What does the collective need to know? It says, trust the niggle. What is the niggle? Mercury retrograde is going to kick my butt. What is the niggling feeling trying to tell you? Okay. What is that niggling feeling inside of you? That niggling feeling that's telling you something needs to change. Okay, I feel like your spirit guides, angels, and ancestors are like tapping you on the shoulder right now and saying, you know, things need to change, whether that's a relationship that needs to change or a work situation that needs to change. It could be a friendship that needs to change. Something needs to change. For some of you, that change is maybe even moving to a different place, moving to a different job, moving to whatever. It says the initiation, rite of passage, cross that threshold. Cross that threshold. What is that niggling feeling trying to tell you? It's like, I'm ready to cross over and go into a whole nother dimension, you know, when it comes to life. And it, you know, sometimes it's like seeing the forest through the trees. It's like sometimes it's so dark, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And all you have to do is be willing to go through that darkness in order for you to be able to experience the light. And what else do we got? We've got awakening. Okay. This says, energetic upgrades, a new way of being, and integration. For some of you, that niggle is you need to be changing the frequency of the foods that you eat, the medications that you're on. Start taking your supplements. Start researching better ways of taking care of yourself. You know, there's a rule of law, you know, in this world. The government would rather, and these medical institutions would rather have you on one prescription medication for every decade that you're alive. Okay. So if you're 30 years old, you should be on 3 prescription medications, 50 years old, 5. Okay. So keep that in mind, but there's other ways of doing things. So eating differently, being differently, exercising, and changing your routine in order to help you with this evolution process. This is an evolution process. I'm sorry about the glare, but this is about evolution. And I feel like it's like taking you out of where you've been. You're going to have to stay grounded through the process. And we have the priestess energy. Priestess says, how are you being called to step out and lead? So this is about maybe putting you in a leadership role. Maybe this is starting a business of your own instead of relying on someone else to support you. You know, we get so used to going to that 9-to-5 job because we don't believe in ourselves that we can actually make things happen. I feel like that new moon, we're going to have a new moon solar eclipse in Aries at the end of March. And I feel like that new moon, because we're in this full moon, total lunar eclipse today as I'm recording this reading, it's like out with the old routines, out with the old whatever, ... This is about purifying yourself, clearing out the clutter of your mind, body, spirit, your outside world, your closet, your, you know, sweeping up everything, cleaning up everything so that you can go through this ascension process. Because when we have that new moon solar eclipse, it'll be the last one in Aries until 2032, and that will end up wrapping up the cycle in 2032. So whatever gets started now during that new moon eclipse that we're going to have, you see the little new moon up there in the corner, I feel like, and that's going to change the trajectory of your life. But I feel like a lot of people are feeling confused. This could be a very intense time of trying to figure out, knowing that things need to change. Like, you can't keep going down that path anymore. You can't stay in that relationship anymore because it just doesn't feed your soul. You're not getting out of it what you want. It doesn't matter if it's romantic, familial, friendship, work, whatever those relationships are, you're going to have to clear that out, even including your relationship with food, your diet, exercise. your everyday routines, all of those things are changing at a cellular level so that you are able to rise to this new frequency. So I feel like for a lot of you, you've got some type of inflammation in the body because your body needs to be purified. Your body, whenever we have inflammation, it's saying, I'm toxic. I have something going on in here that it doesn't feel right. And instead of adding more poison to it, try and find more natural remedies that can actually help you through whatever is ailing you. Okay. I'm not a doctor. I'm not prescribing anything, but what I am telling you is there's always a natural remedy, because what medical institutions are doing is they're only putting a Band-Aid on whatever issue that you have, and instead of getting to the root of the issue. So for those of you who are going through some type of health issues, this could also have a lot to do with the Pluto aspects, because Pluto is definitely a major player in all this. And Pluto can bring in viruses and sickness and, all kinds of Mars and Pluto. Pluto is the highest octave of Mars. So this is about needing to clear out all that gunk. And our body is a physical manifestation of everything that's going on in our life. So if you're getting sick, you've got inflammation, look up Louise Hay's Heal Yourself, and it'll tell you the exact reason why you're going through the experience, the health experience that you're going through, and it'll give you the antidote of how to get through it energetically, okay? So what else do we have here, Spirit? So yeah, ready or not, here it comes. And I know that this can be a very dark time for a lot of people depressed right now. And I feel like too, your depression also comes from the outside world, the distractions of the outside world, focusing on things that you cannot change. You have no hand in any of the things that are going on. There are people in this life that are here to help bring in the new world. And there are people here in this life that want to hold on to the old traditional ways. And it's like, okay, but change is going to happen regardless. And we can sit around kicking and screaming about it, focusing on what, and criticizing everybody else and what they're doing and what they're lacking and blaming. Or we can just go through this experience regardless so that we can ascend to the next level. We're going into this, 5D, and it's like, there's a lot of people who are kicking and screaming that don't want to. They're afraid. But Spirit's telling you, surrender. It's time for you to surrender. Surrender what is whatever it is that's telling you, I need a change. Whatever area of life this is for you, surrender it. Because it sits right underneath that trust the niggle. What is niggling? What is the niggling feeling trying to tell you? What is it trying to tell you? Well, it's asking you to surrender. I give it up to you, God, universe, spirit, higher self, whatever you want to call it. Gods, goddesses, ancestors, and right underneath the initiation, it says rite of passage, crossing the threshold. You got the earth and ground. You're gonna have to, remember earlier when I said you're gonna have to stay grounded. We have all this Pisces energy, Saturn in Pisces, North Node in Pisces, Sun in Pisces. There is so much Pisces energy, and then Venus and Mercury are going to transit back into Pisces during this time. And a lot of people are going to get swept away. Okay. This is also where you can see that people are passing away around eclipses. People will die. Animals, because it's Virgo, will die. Where there's a death, there's a rebirth. Okay. Where there's a death, there's a rebirth. I just saw where somebody's animals are crossing the rainbow bridge. Yep. There's that rainbow. As I said that, look at the animal, the birds crossing over the rainbow bridge. So this is, for some of you, there are people, places, and things that are going to cross over that rainbow bridge, whether you like it or not. You will get messages from them through your spirit guides. Pay attention to the feathers, the butterflies, the birds, because those are messengers from spirit. And look at that. Look at that. It's clarifying the awakening card. You see that new moon in the corner. What is clarifying that? Look at the new moon right there. Look at that new moon right there. And it almost looks like an eclipse in this one, like it's being eclipsed out. Okay. And so again, pay attention to the signs and synchronicities. I feel like Spirit is trying to remind you that we are all souls living a human experience. There it is. It says, how are you being called to step up and lead? Priestess energy. This is where you are stepping into that high priestess energy, that intuitive. And a lot of you could be having premonitions right now, like wondering, how did I know that before it even happened? Like, I saw that in my mind's eye. So pay attention to those things. And it says clear, cancel, and release. You're going to have to surrender what no longer serves you. Clear, cancel, and release. Surrender to the divine. Stay grounded as possible and allow the changes to happen that need to happen right now so that you are not getting stuck in any of these energies. For those of you who have lost someone, or your favorite pet, which is family, they are family, they have a soul. I see entrapment. Some of you are very depressed too. This was their time. Okay. And my condolences to any of you who have gone through any type of a loss, whether it comes to a friend, a family member, or any type of a loved one, including our furry friends. All right, Spirit. So please show me, what is the most important message? What do we got here? Yeah. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Say what you mean and mean. If you are surrounded by people who are just filling you full of shit, turn a blind eye, turn a blind ear. Don't listen, because people need to be able to say what they mean. And if somebody is cutting you off and they're not allowing you to speak up, then that's entirely up to them. But you don't have to play part of that game with them. They're telling me to read the Say What You Mean card. Number 18 could be of importance. Honest communication begins with you. Take a moment to connect within and ask yourself, in what area of your life are you hiding and denying how you feel? How are you feeling about your job? Is it taking you places, or is it the end of the road? Okay. How are you feeling about that relationship? Are they listening to you? Do they make you feel good about yourself? It's time for you to be honest. Does your relationship with your partner need revamping? Are there things that are not working? Who are the people in your life that you must be honest with? This is your opportunity to take back your power and share clearly, wisely, and honestly what does and does not work for you. When you feel vulnerable, you can be easily swayed to say what you feel the other person wants to hear in order to keep the peace. The message of this card is that you need to say what you really mean, whether someone else likes it or not. That's the one thing about me that, my family cannot stand about me. In fact, my family won't even talk to me, because I'm the person in the family that says what I mean and I mean what I say. If I don't like you, I don't like you. Don't try to shake my hand. Don't try to touch me. I do not want a hug. You don't exist. And I don't just say it. There's no qualms about it. You know how I feel, so just don't. You know what I mean? And that can come off as offensive to people. But at the end of the day, authenticity is key. And that's part of the journey. And it can feel uncomfortable to be able to do that. But again, you're needing to step into that priestess energy. The priestess energy doesn't question whether or not that feels good to another person. At the end of the day, you're not in charge of how that makes another person feel. You're only in charge of your own feelings. And if you know something is off about a certain individual or a certain setting, then say it. Speak up. But also say what you mean when it comes to what it is that you're trying to manifest. If you know that there needs to be a change in something, then stop talking about it and start doing it. What are these changes that need to be made? Tell the universe so that they can help align you. So again, it goes back to that clear, cancel, and release what no longer serves you. Surrender to the divine. Try and stay as grounded as possible, and pay attention to the signs and synchronicities that the universe is trying to show you through people, places, and things. The animals, the birds, the butterflies, the numbers, the repetition. You keep seeing a giraffe. Why do you see the giraffe? Look it up. Spiritual meaning of, and then type that in. You keep seeing the same number sequence, not just 444, 1111. That's just how they get your attention. It could be 462. It could be 894. Okay? Like, it can be any number sequence that you continuously, repetitively seeing. Look it up. Okay? Pay attention to the signs and synchronicities. I feel like for some of you, this is about travel. You could decide, you know what? I want to travel for the rest of my life. I don't want to sit in another situation. For some of you, I'm getting cave diving, like you want to become a cave diver or something. That's random, I know. And for some of you, you need to go sit out in nature. Go out into nature or do something grounding. That could be hula hooping. That could be jumping on a trampoline. That could be, standing there washing dishes, cleaning your house, organizing your drawers, getting rid of shit in your garage. Those are all grounding activities. It doesn't mean that you need to just go sit in a fucking forest and hum. That's not conducive to everybody's lifestyle. I know for me, I don't have the attention span to do that kind of shit. So lots of changes that need to be made. What else do we have here, Spirit? What else do we have? All right. We got regeneration, but it showed up in the reverse. I want to read that. Number 46, which is a 10. 4 plus 6 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So endings of old cycles and the beginning of new. And we see the world card here, even though it's in the signs and reminders, but I see the world here. And the world, it's like the world is your oyster. The protection message says, endings come in many forms, and now is the time to stop holding on to what must die, so that something better can take its place. Nature's cycles include disease, decay, and death. Isn't that what I just said? I just said that. Okay? This is definitely a death and rebirth cycle. And I talked about disease, viruses, and those types of things. If that's what your body is going through, it's because it is toxic and you need to do something about it. Nature's cycles include disease, decay, death, and regeneration. Let whatever isn't working in your life die. Don't be afraid to face the facts. There is no need to struggle or grieve. Whatever your query, let it go. You're about to be reborn. You're about to be reborn. But some of you guys are definitely going to go into this kicking and screaming, I don't want change. It's freaky. And yeah, change is scary. But you know what? That's when you know it's worth it. We always, when Mercury or any of the planets go retrograde, we try to go back to what's familiar. What's familiar is not always what's good for you. We're all in this wanting to feel good, but are you really feeling good right now? Because I know a lot of people mentally, emotionally, spiritually, they just want to bitch about their situation, but they don't want to do anything to change it. They talk a lot of shit, they talk a lot of game, but they don't actually make anything happen. So we're at this time in our lives with this Virgo full moon eclipse, which is saying something has to change. I cannot go down this path any longer. And it's boiling to the surface. And the reason why you get anxiety is because you're not willing to make the decision. Once you've made that decision, that's when the anxiety disappears and you're able to evolve out of whatever situation you're trying to get yourself out of. But it's going to take you making that decision. You walking back into an old relationship that has just failed miserably. They left you with nothing, not even self-respect. Well, what makes you think they're not going to do it again? Don't you want to give somebody else an opportunity to love you correctly? But the only way to make that happen is to evolve out of whatever energy frequency you're in that has gotten you to the place that you're in right now. So my suggestion is I would not be going back to any past relationships that are not good for you. They've already proven themselves. And at the end of the day, the universe makes the final decision. We don't make mistakes, we only learn lessons. And if we're on the wrong path, the universe is going to course correct us no matter how harsh that may be. And sometimes they are harsh when they make that choice for you. They're going to pull the rug right out from underneath you. So, my suggestion is allow whatever needs to leave your life to go now so that you can make room for this new moon, solar eclipse in Aries, for this new beginning that is trying to formulate for you as we speak. But it's going to be uncomfortable as we go through whatever turmoil and grief process that comes along with these endings. And yes, you're allowed to grieve, but then you're going to have to pull up your big boy panties or your big girl panties, and you're going to have to get moving. You can sit around and whine all you want, but at some point you're going to have to learn that such is life. And the only guarantees in it are death, taxes, and change. And I even think taxes are going to go through a major change. Anyway, you guys, I love you all so much. It's pouring down rain, so let the emotions flow. If you need to cry, cry. Go through that cleanse. That in itself is so healing. Love you guys all so much. Good luck through this energy. It is very transformative. And if you need help getting through it, schedule a session at thefootstepstopeace.com. Take care.